Usually, when we think about who we are,
Right.
right, like our core identity, we start by drawing a map. We basically rely on this expectation of boundaries.
Right, yeah. Like drawing a line in the sand.
Exactly.
Right.
Here is where the ocean ends, and here's where the land begins.
Mhm.
You have your physical body, like the actual skin that holds you in, and then you have literally everything else outside of that skin.
Mm-hmm.
The entire universe is just divided into this very clean, very binary system.
Mm.
Inside the line is me, and outside the line is, well, not me.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the fundamental way human beings navigate the physical world, right? If you didn't have that subject-object distinction, you literally wouldn't be able to walk through a door or eat an apple.
I just walk right into the wall.
Right. You need to know where you end and the door begins. And this is the fascinating part, while that boundary is incredibly useful for survival, it might actually just be, the greatest cognitive illusion we participate in.
And that illusion is exactly what we are shattering on today's deep dive. Welcome in, by the way. Our mission today is to unpack a really short, but just profoundly evocative piece of writing provided in your sources.
It's a fantastic piece.
It really is. It's by an author known as Mandala Matrix, dated October 10th, 2007. It's a German text simply titled Ich bin, which translates to I am. And, in exactly 15 lines, this text completely erases that map of human identity we just talked about.
It really does. It doesn't just cross the border between the self and the universe. It systematically dismantles the entire concept of a border.
It's a rapid-fire journey, too. I mean, it starts right in the physical dirt, scales all the way up to the cosmos, and ends in this totally mind-bending paradox.
What is genuinely remarkable about this specific piece, I think, is its efficiency.
Wow.
The author uses this rhythmic, almost hypnotic repetition to achieve this dismantling.
Yeah, those two words.
Exactly. Every single line, except for the conclusion, begins with those two words, Ich bin, I am. It reads almost like an ancient mantra, but the philosophical framework beneath it is incredibly modern.
Right.
We're essentially looking at a radical framework of non-dualism constructed in just, a few stanzas. We'll be looking at the English translations mostly, but keeping that original rhythmic German phrasing in mind is key.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to see how this mechanism actually works, we really have to look at where the text starts. It begins by grounding the self in the immediate physical and spiritual environment.
The immediate surroundings.
Right. So the first 4 lines read, and I'll give the German first, Ich bin der Himmel, in den ich schaue, meaning, I am the sky I look into. Then, ich bin die Erde, auf der ich baue. I am the earth I build on.
Mm-hmm.
Next, ich bin der Körper, in dem ich wohne. I am the body I live in. And finally, ich bin der Geist, der mich durchdringt.
Mm.
I am the spirit that permeates me.
Wow. Notice the immediate collapse of the observer and the observed right there.
Yeah, it's instantaneous.
It is. I mean, the standard everyday experience is that you tilt your head back and you look at the sky, right?
Yeah.
You are the subject. The sky is this vast, distant object.
Right, totally separate.
Exactly. I mean, René Descartes built an entire philosophical empire on this kind of dualism, the idea that the mind and the world are these separate entities. But Mandala Matrix just rejects that entirely out of the gate.
Completely throws it out.
Yeah. The author isn't looking at the sky. They are the sky observing itself. It establishes this radical form of interconnectedness.
When I first read this, my brain immediately went to, Russian nesting dolls, but experienced in reverse.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
Well, you start vast, right? The sky.
Mhm.
Then you move to the ground of the earth. Then you shrink down into the physical vessel, the body. And finally, you focus on the invisible code running at all the spirit.
It's a narrowing of focus, yeah.
It's like wearing a VR headset and suddenly realizing you aren't the player wearing the headset, and you aren't the avatar in the game either. You are the actual code rendering the sky, the earth, and the avatar simultaneously.
The VR code is a highly accurate way to look at it, especially when you get to that 4th line, I am the spirit that permeates me.
Der Geist, der mich durchdringt.
Right. If you are the code generating the reality, then the animating force, the spirit or consciousness, isn't just a ghost in the machine. It is the machine. This heavily mirrors the philosophical concept of panpsychism.
Panpsychism.
Yeah.
Meaning the idea that consciousness is a fundamental feature of all physical matter.
Exactly. We usually think consciousness is an emergent property, right? Like, once a brain gets complex enough, awareness suddenly just switches on.
Like a light bulb.
Yeah. But panpsychism argues that awareness goes all the way down to the subatomic level. So when the text says, I am the earth I build on, it is suggesting that the foundation itself possesses the same fundamental isness as the architect.
Ooh.
You aren't interacting with dead matter. You are interacting with another manifestation of your own consciousness.
But, okay, if you were generating your entire physical reality, a much harder, much more, I don't know, uncomfortable question arises. What about other people? What about love? Because if I am everything, doesn't that inherently mean I am entirely alone?
Yeah.
And the text drives right into this exact tension. It moves straight from the physical environment into the most intimate social boundaries we have, which is the family.
Right. Because once the poem dissolves the physical boundaries, the earth, the sky, the body, it logically has to dissolve our deepest social boundaries next.
Yeah.
It forces the logic of the first stanza into the emotional sphere.
Yeah, so let's look at that. The next 4 lines say, Ich bin der Vater, der mich führt. I am the father who guides me. Then, Ich bin die Mutter, die ich spürt. I am the mother who feels me. Next, Ich bin der Bruder, mit dem ich spiele. I am the brother I play with. And lastly, for this section, Ich bin die Schwester, die ich liebe. I am the sister I love. Now, I gotta be honest here.
Go ahead.
My initial reaction to this was almost visceral rejection.
Really? I can completely understand why, actually.
Wait, if I am my own guiding father, and my own feeling mother, my own playing brother, and my beloved sister, isn't that incredibly isolating?
Sounds like it, yeah.
It sounds like a psychological horror movie.
Yeah.
Like someone locked in an empty room, hallucinating a family to cope with the absolute silence. Does claiming to be your own entire family just erase the need for actual, messy, real-world human connection?
Well, if we take the text completely literally, yes, it touches on a very deep human fear of isolation. Solipsism, right? The idea that your mind is the only thing that actually exists. It's a notoriously lonely philosophical corner to paint yourself into.
Exactly.
But if we look at the psychological mechanism at play here, we find something far more empowering. It's not about loneliness at all. It actually aligns beautifully with modern therapeutic models,
Right.
particularly something called internal family systems, or IFS.
I am somewhat familiar with IFS. That's the idea that we have multiple, parts within our psyche.
Right, yeah. In IFS, you have different subpersonalities within you. Some hold trauma, some act as protectors, some act as managers. But at the core of all these parts is the self. This pure, undamaged center of consciousness characterized by compassion and clarity.
So how does that connect to the poem?
What Mandela Matrix is doing here is identifying the Ich Bin with that core self. The author is stating that the archetypal energies we usually demand from outside people actually originate from within the I am.
Oh, I see. So it is not about pretending your literal biological mother doesn't exist. It is about the archetype.
Precisely. Look at the specific verbs tied to each figure in those lines. The father guides Führt. The mother feels or empathizes Spirit. The brother plays Spiele. The sister loves Lieb.
Guidance, empathy, playfulness, and love.
Exactly. These are the 4 foundational emotional nutrients required for human stability. Usually we walk around with a deficit of these, right? We're hoping a partner or a parent will fill the tank. We say, I need a father figure to guide me.
But by claiming I am the father who guides me, you're basically realizing that the capacity for ultimate steady guidance is already installed in your operating system.
Yes. You are recognizing that the profound feeling of being nurtured that you might experience through another person is actually a state of consciousness generated by your own mind.
Wow.
The external person is just a mirror reflecting your own internal capacity for love back to you. You are the source of your own emotional fulfillment. It is the ultimate statement of complete emotional self-sufficiency.
Okay, that shifts the emotional weight of this text entirely for me. It transforms it from a statement of isolation into this realization of wholeness.
It really does.
And from a narrative perspective, it sets up an incredible pivot. Because once you have completely internalized the physical environment, the earth and sky, you've completely internalized the entire social and emotional sphere of the human experience, where do you go?
Right. What's left?
You've outgrown the human scale.
Yeah.
There is literally nowhere left to expand but upward into the celestial and divine realms.
The Ich Bin refuses to stop at the edge of the atmosphere. Having conquered the physical and the social, the logic demands that if the self is the source, it must scale to the cosmos.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because as we scale up, the verbs start doing some incredibly heavy lifting.
They do. Let's hear the lines.
The text reads, Ich bin die Sonne, die mich wärmt. I am the sun that warms me. Ich bin der Mond, der mich umschwärmt. I am the moon that swarms or surrounds me. Ich bin die Sterne, die mich lehren. I am the stars that teach me. And finally, ich bin die Engel, die mich ehren. I am the angels that honor me.
The progression of those verbs is masterful.
It's so good.
You start with a physical sensation, the sun warming you, that's very tangible, but the moon shifts the perspective. The German word umschwärmt is fascinating here.
Yeah, to swarm or surround.
Right, it translates to swarming, flocking. The moon isn't just a rock reflecting light, it's this ambient gravitational presence that actively encompasses the speaker.
And the stars. I mean, the text says, die mich lehren, the stars that teach me. It doesn't say the stars that twinkle or the stars that look pretty.
Yeah.
The cosmos is presented as this active intellectual guide. This instantly made me think of astrophysics, specifically that famous Carl Sagan quote.
Oh, that we are a way for the cosmos to know itself.
Yes.
Exactly that way.
That is the exact mechanism at work here. And it's not just poetic flair. You know, it is a literal astrophysical reality. The iron in our blood and the calcium in our bones were forged in the cores of dying stars.
Literally star stuff.
Literally. So when a human being looks up at the night sky and studies astronomy, it is quite literally the universe studying the universe. The star is teaching the star. The Ich Bin here is merely acknowledging that biological and chemical continuity.
That's beautiful. But then the text takes a massive leap from the astrophysical to the metaphysical. I am the angels that honor me. That is a completely staggering line.
It is the ultimate inversion of our traditional spiritual hierarchy.
Oh, well, think about it. In almost every religious or mystical tradition across human history, the hierarchy is very clear. Humans are flawed, mortal beings stuck down here in the dirt, and angels are pure celestial messengers up in the heavens.
Right, we look up to them.
We revere them. We pray to them for intervention.
The human is always the one doing the honoring.
Always. But Mandela Matrix flips it entirely. The angels are the ones honoring the speaker.
I really want to dig into the why of that. Like, why would the angels honor the speaker? Is it just an ego trip by the author?
Actually, it's the exact opposite of an ego trip. Because remember, the traditional ego has already been dissolved into the stars and the earth and the family.
Oh, right. There's no guy left to have an ego.
Exactly. What the angels are honoring is not a human personality. They're honoring the sheer, unadulterated state of pure awareness. Pure conscious existence. The simple fact of being is elevated above even divine constructs.
Yeah, it is wild.
And because the speaker is the angels, it creates this closed, infinite loop of divine reverence. The act of existing is so profoundly holy that the divine messengers bow to it. Yet those messengers are just another manifestation of your own existence.
The scale of that is so massive, it almost induces vertigo. I mean, you are the student learning from the stars, and you are the stars doing the teaching. You are the mortal being honored by angels, and you are the divine beings doing the honoring.
It's dizzying.
We have maxed out the capacity of language at this point.
Yeah.
How does an author possibly top being honored by angels? How do you conclude a thought like that? You can't just throw in another noun.
No, you can't go bigger than angels or the cosmos.
Right.
The moment you name another thing, you limit the poem again. The only way forward, the only way out of this escalating loop is to collapse the entire universe into a single conclusive paradox.
And that brings us to line 15. Yeah. The final line, Ich bin alles, ich bin nicht, ich bin. Meaning, I am everything, I am nothing, I am. So what does this all mean? How can a single entity be everything and nothing simultaneously? Let me throw an analogy at you to see if this tracks.
Okay, let's hear it.
I pictured a computer rebooting. Specifically, it's RAM, it's short-term memory.
Walk me through the mechanism.
Okay, so throughout this text, the poem is essentially loading the entire operating system of the universe into your mental RAM.
Right.
It loads the sky, the earth, the body, the family, the sun, the moon, the angels. It claims all of it. The system is completely full to the absolute brim. You become everything. Ich bin alles.
Okay, I follow.
But if you are literally everything, if there is absolutely nothing outside of you, then the boundary of the self completely vanishes. A border can only exist if there's something on the other side of it to bump into.
That is the core of non-dual philosophy right there. If a balloon expands to the infinite edges of the universe, the skin of the balloon ceases to have any function or meaning. It just disappears.
Right. So by becoming everything, you simultaneously lose all definition. You lose the shape of the self, which means functionally, mathematically, you become nothing. Ich bin nichts. I see where you're going. The system maxes out, it crashes into the weight of infinity, and it clears its RAM completely. All the nouns, all the verbs, all the boundaries are wiped clean. And what are you left with? Just the blinking cursor on a black screen. Ich bin. I am.
That is a strong analogy for the process of clearing out the concepts. It is like clearing the RAM, sure, but the crucial distinction here, unlike a computer, is that after the crash, there is no user left at the keyboard.
Whoa.
It is pure awareness without an object to be aware of.
Just the awareness itself.
Yes. The structural genius of Mandela Matrix's text is that it ends on the exact same two words the poem began with, Ich bin. But the Ich bin at the end of this journey operates on a completely different frequency than the one at the beginning.
Because the first one was hungry, right?
Yeah.
It was a subject looking for an object. I am? What? Oh, I am the sky. It needed something to attach to.
Exactly. It was seeking identity through attachment. So the text takes the listener on this sweeping tour of the cosmos, attaching that identity to every single concept in existence, pushing the boundary further and further out until the concepts of everything and nothing mathematically cancel each other out.
And then it just drops all the baggage.
Right. When all the labels and all the adjectives are finally stripped away, you are left with just the verb of existence itself, the unadorned state of being. It doesn't need the sky or the angels anymore to justify its existence. It is entirely self-evident.
It is genuinely incredible that a text from 2007 manages to take 15 lines of simple repetition and turn them into a complete blueprint for cosmic interconnectedness.
It really is a masterpiece of brevity.
We went from the dirt under our feet to the psychological archetypes of our family, all the way to the outer reaches of astrophysics and angelic hierarchies, only to realize that we were never really moving at all. We were just expanding the definition of me until it broke.
But, you know, the value of a deep dive like this isn't just in admiring the philosophical mechanics of the writing. Knowledge is really most valuable when it's applied.
To essentially practice the Ich bin in your daily life.
Exactly. This text is an active invitation to you, the listener, to view your own surroundings, your family, your sky, not as separate objects, but as extensions of yourself. It radically alters your behavior.
How so?
Well, if the Earth is an extension of you, how do you treat it? If your brother or sister is a reflection of your own internal archetypes, then to harm them is quite literally to harm yourself. And to approach them with empathy is to heal yourself.
It forces you to take total responsibility for your reality. You can't really play the victim to a universe that is constantly happening to you if you realize that the universe is just you happening to yourself.
Beautifully said. It takes the lofty concepts of non-dualism and panpsychism out of the textbook and forces you to live them on a Tuesday morning. We spend so much energy drawing those maps and policing those boundaries because it makes us feel safe and defined. But this piece suggests that the truest reality might just be the terrifying, beautiful space where all the lines disappear.
Which leaves you with a pretty profound final thought to mull over today.
Yeah.
When you strip away your physical environment and you strip away the psychological comfort of your relationships and the vast swirling cosmos around you, what does your pure I am actually look like?
Yeah.
If the rigid line between me and everything else is just a cognitive illusion, how does that change the way you interact with the world the very moment this audio stops?